Hello, Morningsiders, and thank you for attending this year's Hall of Fame ceremony. It's my honor and my privilege to introduce to you Janel Gillies Bennett, who was here from 2000 to 2004, played in the 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2003 seasons, the very first seasons of soccer and women's soccer at Morningside. She was an original founding member of soccer here, and those were some lean years. 2000 and 2001, we were in the old NCC, Division II, with big powerhouses that have now become Division I schools. We went 4-14 that first year, 5-15 the second year, and as we became an independent in 2002, we finally went 18-2, and then in our first GPAC season in 2003, went 8-3 in the conference and tied for second that year. In spite of those lean years, Janel amassed all of our, at that time, scoring records and still holds 6 of those today, 20 years later. She has a career goal record of 67 goals. It's not been broken in spite of 3 teams that have gone to the Nationals for the women's program, winning conference several times, inducting Brooke Niles and Maggie Kukuk into the Hall of Fame before her, and still didn't break those records. She also has marks for single game goals, single game points, consecutive games with goals, consecutive games with points, and tied for the lead in postseason assists. She also was an all GPAC performer in our first year in the GPAC in 2003. How did she even get here? I wrote hundreds of letters that first year that I was here. I was hired in November of the year before and had about 6 or 8 months to recruit a team. I wrote hundreds of letters, especially in the states like Washington, Colorado, New Mexico, and California, who had large high school populations of players, but very few or fewer college options for those same players. I got dozens of faxes back in the old days, including one from Olympic High School in Bremerton, Washington. Their coach put a couple of seniors on that list, and I called back and set up appointments with a couple who ended up coming, not just Janel, but also Jennifer Padawarn. I flew eventually out there to sign them at their high school. My dad had been stationed at Fort Lewis in Washington in 1972, and I went back to visit my old elementary school and the neighborhood and the bases and all of that. Then went across the Sound into Bremerton and had a great day there, lunch with the parents and families of both of these players. Lo and behold, they eventually came, to my surprise, far, far from home, and in the early days of soccer here. Those early days were fun, but they were difficult in the old NCC. The trip, for example, with travel partners being what they were then, the trip from UNC in Greeley, Colorado, to play the next day in Omaha at UNO was particularly tough. We practiced and played in those days down at Ruger Field, about a mile off campus. Our first ever game there was a 4-3 win against Southwest Minnesota State. Our first ever game just the week prior to that was at UNI, a 6-5 win. We were kind of a mini family back then. A lot of the girls were from far away. I credit each one of them and their families for staying those first couple lean years. We did everything we could to kind of make that feeling far away from home one that would keep them here. We even went to Seattle in 2001 with the team to play a couple of teams out there. Janel and Jen got to show their teammates around, and we had a really great time driving all over the city and all over the area and playing a couple of schools while we were out there. Janel even babysat my 2 children, who were 2 and 3 at the time she arrived. Many of the girls did. But my job is really a great one as I reflect on those 20 years ago when she arrived, 24 years ago when she arrived. The best part of my job is to watch these players move on. And Janel has children of her own now, a 12-year-old Brady and 9-year-old Brielle. He's a great husband who's also a Mustang. She's even a coach now. She coaches teams not just in soccer, but in softball and several other sports for her children. My favorite memory, among many that were part of her time here is actually just from a few years ago when Janel came back for one of our annual alumni weekends and games. Somehow through the course of the day, we ended up sitting together on the bench on the side of the field, just the two of us, and she said, "You know what I've really realized since leaving?" She said, "Everything you ever said to us was right." And that's a tremendous gift to give an old coach, and what could be better than that for a person in my spot. I want to thank you, Dave and Barb Gillies, for allowing your daughter to come so far from home. I want to congratulate you for seeing her time and the impact she's had on our lives come to this great and prestigious award. There's only, of all the hundreds and hundreds of athletes, students who have come through Morningside, she's one of the proud few in this new Hall of Fame category. I want to congratulate Mike Bennett for having a super wife, and I want to congratulate Brady and Brielle for seeing that you have a super mom, which you probably know already. Most of all, I want to thank and congratulate Janel Gillies Bennett for this wonderful achievement and the confirmation that you impacted our lives, including mine, in such a lasting way. Please join me in welcoming Janel Gillies Bennett.